all I've got to say is, if I were the MCU, I'd watch out. Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse was directed by Joaquin Dos Santos and stars Shamik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Oscar Isaac, and a bunch of cameos and a ton of other characters. In here, we enter the world once again of the animated Spider-Verse universe, where Miles Morales is still trying to balance his personal life with being a hero, but when he's taken by a secret society and a large reveal comes to play about a new villain he has, Miles has to choose between the fate of being a hero and family. First Spider-Verse movie that came out was just a world game changer. This changed the way everything was. Animation style, in particular, we've seen so many films try to mimic or knock off that particular way. It was heartfelt. It was extremely in-depth for a kid's movie and an animated film, and it blew everyone out of the water, which is how great it is. It, to this day, is one of the best comic book movies ever made. And I know you've heard that 100 times, so I'm not going to rant and rave about it. But we're going to talk about this movie, and I'm going to say I had a lot of reservations going in, because I was like, the first one was so good, I'm not sure if you can catch lightning in the bottle twice. I was wrong. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is absolutely phenomenal. This movie recaptures the essence of the first one, of what made that great, while also adding to it and creating its own new identity along the way. This movie is just truly full of just brilliant ideas, wonderful performances, fantastic animation, and glorious music. I mean, the music in here is something that's being understated, how good it really is. One thing I really want to mention here is the relationship of Miles and all the people that he has as friends and family, and see how this play in, because multiple things are done right. First of all, Miles is a person. He's done perfectly well. And as any good Spider-Man story, though, a lot of things happen with family and with decisions around them, without giving any spoilers, that really play into his character development, and you can see how him doing what he's doing can affect those people that he loves and cares about. And that was really well done, and I respected this movie so much for it, because a large part of this movie is just dedicated to that, the relationships and dialogue between people, just talking, and even some of the other Spider-Man and finding out things you didn't know. This movie has cameos, yes, we all knew it was going to, but this movie doesn't have to piggyback on that. It's good on its own. If you had no cameos in here at all, this would still be just as good. Like, this movie is fantastic. The villain in here, Spot, I think is really great. I like what they did with him, and the animation lends to them having the ability to do some really fun scenes and moments with him. And his dynamic with Spider-Man, though it reminded me of the Lego Batman and Joker, it's still a really good concept and all. This movie also has a very heavy ending. It ends in a way that wants you to get more, and I'm ready for more if they're interested in doing that. The animation style, again, is absolutely phenomenal. This movie is brilliant. The script is fantastic. It's fast-paced. It's quick-moving. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes, but doesn't really feel it. I don't think there's anything in here that should have been pulled. I think this movie showed exactly what it needed to and moved on. So this movie does really well. Gwen Stacy actually gets a ton of attention in this movie. She's got a lot of well-written. There's a lot of stuff focused just on her, and I appreciate that. This movie really, really did a lot of things that most films don't necessarily do, and something else that this film does that's honestly surprising well, that I had no clue was even going to happen in this movie, because it's just something I just frankly didn't even think about, is this really begins to build a universe. And it takes ideas from the comics. If you know the comics, you'll see they clearly change things, but the universe that they're building isn't like a multiversal one. It's, without spoiling, leaning to something else, and I really like that. I like the way this is going so far. It's really well done. I do have issues with the movie, however, if I'm being entirely honest. It's by no means a flawless film. The plot for the multiverse and how it's carried out, though, really good at times, and I love the way a certain thing plays out when Miles is trying to make a decision to go back to a certain place. It felt a little old to what we've seen in Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home, a lot of movies like that. That's not necessarily the most original. I think that was the weaker part of the film, was the multiversal stuff. And I didn't necessarily become a fan of all the cameos and things. That wasn't the best part. It got to be, in some parts, a little excessive, but it was very rare that it did. For the most part, this movie landed very solidly. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, for me, is a massive win, and it's great. It has me very happy to see Spider-Man getting this kind of stuff. I want more. I want them to keep making this kind of Spider-Man properties, and anything else from Sony. They've killed it. I'm really interested in this. It's a fantastic movie. Can't recommend it enough. See it in a theater, please. Don't watch this at home. See this on the big screen. It's quite the experience, and it's phenomenal. I'm going to give Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse an 8 out of 10. So thank you guys always so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you all next time.